Hey, let's unmute the mic. Oh, wait, the mic is unmuted. Life is good. It's nice when I remember to actually unmute the mic before I start talking. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Hey there, guys and gals. My name is Brad Varnell. This is the Infinite Crypto YouTube channel. And folks, I'm excited to have a deep, meaningful trading conversation with you today. I notice in the chat that I think that, people are a little bit, man, right now is a rough time. I'm not going to act like it's not. So for those of you that are feeling maybe a little discouraged, it's okay. I understand. I woke up today, I'm looking here, I've got, CoinGecko, pulled up, and I'm watching Crypto Lifer Sam Price earlier today and seeing, the bearishness in his technical analysis and everything that's going on would lead one to believe that, we're in trouble. Well, folks, hopefully I can be the voice of reason. There's very few things that I will guarantee in life, but I will guarantee you that this bull run is not over. Now, obviously, those are big words, and maybe that's going to come back to bite me. Maybe that'll be a sound bite, over the next 2 or 3 years where I get roasted. But I've been around this space and I've been around how this works for way too long to believe that we still don't have some massive, massive upside coming, folks. I talked about it a little bit yesterday on the Crypto Mindset live stream, and I even pulled up a couple of points where this is really pretty normal. For those of you that have been around for a while, you understand that right now it's actually the market sentiment, as bad as it might be, is not as bad as it used to be. You go back to 2017, 2018, and you had all of the administrations totally negative. You had, the JP Morgans of the world getting up and basically talking about how Bitcoin was worthless and how it was going to go to zero. You had, I can't think of all of their names right off the top of my head, but you had so many people getting on TV, getting on CNN and CNBC, and basically talking about how cryptocurrency was just a fad that was going to zero, that there was no substance behind it. But folks, I'm here to tell you that that's just not true. Let's have a eye to eye. Oh, I don't have my camera set up very well, do I? Well, that's my bad. I'll give you a quick second here to give me a moment to adjust this. I didn't realize that I had it so bad. Let me go. How's that? There, that's better. You can't see my computer monitor anymore. That's good. I think my dogs must have messed with it a little bit. I don't know how they got the angle to come down. But folks, what I'm trying to tell you is industries change. So the reason that I know that we have upside is not because cryptocurrency investors are going to come pouring into the market and we're going to, see this huge influx of capital and everything's going to go up, like pie in the sky. The reason I know is because when horse buggies got replaced by automobiles, it might seem hard to believe, but back then there was a lot of people that wondered why we needed cars. There was a lot of resistance to automobiles. Roads hadn't really been created yet. You had trails for the old, the old horse and buggies or whatever, the carriages, but you didn't really have roads. And, way back then, that industry took a while to take off, and it went through all sorts of opposition and ridicule. And of course, the people that were, that owned the horse and buggy companies, they certainly didn't want to see automobiles take over. And, automobiles, as we all know, took over, and eventually there's no such thing as horse and buggies now. And folks, that's what blockchain technology is like. So blockchain technology is here to stay. It's a revolutionary new technology that is way better than most of the technology that we've been using. It's tamper-proof, it's immutable. There's so many things about blockchain technology that make it head and shoulders above the way that we account and do things right now in the real world. I believe that blockchain technology is going to totally revolutionize. That's weird. I'm not happy that I can't. My words are weird today. Like, my mind has been a little bit foggy on me this morning. I hope everything's good. I'll pray and choose to believe that everything is good, but I don't like the fact that I'm kind of stumbling over my words and just, kind of feel a little weird. So let me kind of catch my breath for a quick second and go, move forward. But my point is that blockchain technology is so much better. It's going to revolutionize the real estate industry. It's going to revolutionize, accounting and how people use, blockchain for bookkeeping and how they record all of their financial transactions. It's already being put into automobiles and, these automatic cars. Blockchain technology has a lot to do with a lot of the new things that is going on in the automobile industry. And once again, I think it's going to be so cool that we're going to be able to buy real estate here one of these days. We're going to have a blockchain. Our ID is going to be on the blockchain. We're going to have all of our documents, all of our information will be on a private blockchain that's protected. But literally, the days of having to go look at a house and then go, qualify for a mortgage and then sit there and wait months and months and months for stuff to close, all of that stuff is going to change over the next 5 or 10 years. And then I believe in not that long of a period of time, you're going to literally be able to pull up a house on your computer screen. You're going to be able to look at it and virtually see it the way that you want to see it, where you don't even necessarily have to go walk through it if you don't want to. And then you're literally going to be able to get in touch with the owner and buy it in a matter of hours or a few days. And you're going to be able to pay for it with Bitcoin or Ethereum or something along those lines. And that's where the world is heading. To say that blockchain technology is not going to overtake the world and that it's not going to become mass adopted is like saying AI is not going to revolutionize the world and it's not going to be adopted. You realize though, we see AI as something relatively new. For the most part, most of us are not used to using a whole lot of AI in our life, but AI has been in the works and has been getting, improved upon for decades and decades now. I remember watching an episode of Friends way back in, the 1990s where Pete Decker, I think his name was, was Monica's boyfriend back then, and he was talking about AI technology and how you could, tell it to do something and it would understand you. It wouldn't be able to do it, but it would be able to understand what you wanted it to do. But so AI is not new. It's just finally breaking through and starting to have mass adoption. It's starting to get to the point where it really is able to, function and do what it needs to do. It's not going anywhere. Well, blockchain technology is like that. Blockchain technology is still very much in its infancy. It's not that old. We look at it and think it's been around for, 10, 15 years, and that feels like a long time to us. But in general, that's not a long time at all. Cell phones, I think, got, invented way back in the late 70s. I don't know for sure when, but I know that late 70s, early 80s, people had cell phones. Very wealthy people, you had to have a ton of money, and the things were this big, and they were clunky, and not very many people had them. But the point is they existed. And probably back then, when people saw these great big huge phones, and the fact that very few people had them, and the fact that they were super, super, super expensive, that only the super wealthy could afford them, most average people would have thought to themselves, well, that's never going to catch on. Cell phones are never going to be an everyday, item that everybody owns. Yet here we are, 50 years later. Not only does every single adult own a cell phone, most kids from the age of about 6 on up probably own cell phones. And maybe some parents keep cell phones away from their kids until they're 8, 10, or 12. But man, by the time you're in junior high, you have a cell phone these days. And my point is, folks, that's not changing with cryptocurrency. Everything that we are moving forward towards is happening. It just doesn't seem to want to happen on our time frame. It doesn't want to happen as quickly as we would like for it to happen. So let's run over here to the chat real quick. I want to get off of that full view though, and I just want to say good morning to everybody. Thank you. Oh boy, you guys don't make it easy on me to pronounce your names, do you? Naya, Nana, Dana. I'm just going to call you Jonah. Thank you for being here. John, thank you for being here. As always, we got good morning, Dave. How you doing, brother? I didn't notice, Dave. I made you an admin yesterday. Are you still an admin, or do I have to do that every single day? I wasn't 100% sure if I need to. Luckily, it seems like we kind of got rid of the riffraff on Wednesday, and it hasn't come back. I did a beautiful live stream on Friday, didn't have any problems. We had a great live stream yesterday, didn't have any problems. So far, I'm not seeing anything in the chat that's disturbing today. So, but I still would like to have a couple of you guys be admins. I need to get on top of that and make sure that I get you promoted. But thank you very much for volunteering to be a admin yesterday, Dave. Appreciate you. Pit Bear, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you are doing fantastic. Wealth Ranger, bear market already started. Man, I really understand where you're coming from, Wealth Ranger, but I don't think that that's the case. And it's not just hopium. It's not just euphoria. It's not just like I just can't fathom that the bear market has started. Although I'm going to be fully transparent, I would be a little sick if the bear market truly had started. It would be a pretty frustrating thing. I guess, on the flip side, I would be able to implement my strategies and hopefully ride, Bitcoin down to whatever it was going to go down to, the altcoins. But folks, the reason that I don't believe that the bear market has really truly started is it's too much like these other years. If you go back to February of 2020, when Bitcoin went from 42,000 back to 27,000, everybody thought that the bear market had started then too. And so this is all just a little bit too familiar. And then I didn't hear exactly all of the news, but like with Solana getting slaughtered, like Solana at $163 is just an amazing opportunity to me. One of the things that I wanted to share with you guys is, really why I don't think we are in a bear market and why I believe that we have some incredible, tremendous upside coming. But Wealth Ranger, I certainly understand why you would say that, and I don't blame you for feeling like it is. But I think we are a long ways away from a real true bear market again. Dave P, don't have to take a shower anymore because I keep getting rinsed. Man, I understand. It sure feels that way. I'm looking at the charts today, and it's just unbelievable to me the way that this can go sometimes. But once again, getting rich in crypto is simple, but it isn't easy. Pablo Noodles, good morning, my friend, or good evening for you. I hope you are doing fantastic. We got Dave Matthias. Greetings, guys, and another day to listen to the wisdom from Brad. Welcome, guys. Hey, thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you very much. Mr. Tim G. And we got Donnie And who else? Let me see here. Tim G. Make sure you're taking care of yourself, Mr. Brad. Have you been drinking enough water lately? That's a good question. So probably over the last couple of weeks, I would say no. But I started a new habit actually today where I take 2 bottles of water, the 16, 17 ounces, set them on my nightstand. And the first thing that I'm doing before my feet basically even hit the floor is drinking both of those waters. So I had 2 bottles of water. I had a good sized protein shake. And so I could still be slightly dehydrated, though, no doubt about it. There's probably a lot of toxins and stuff working their way out of my body. I haven't been eating the way that I probably should be. We decided to give up soda. So I haven't drank, regular Coke and that kind of stuff for a long time because of the type 2 diabetes. But I got to say that I was, pretty addicted to Coke Zero. I would probably drink, anywhere from 2 or 3 on a slow day to 5 or 6 or 7 on a busy day. And then when I got away from my water intake, I definitely upped the Coke Zero intake. So I don't think I'm having Coke Zero withdrawals yet, but I didn't have one. Usually I have 1 or 2 towards bedtime, and I didn't have any last night. And then I haven't had any this morning. So I don't know if my body is, messing with you. I'm pretty sure, guys, those things are filled with chemicals, and I really believe that they can be as addictive as cigarettes and alcohol and, other drugs out there. So it wouldn't surprise me if I have a couple weeks of my body giving me a hard time and really craving that Coke Zero, and maybe, where I go through some withdrawals. I think that some of those chemicals that are inside of those types of products, your body probably gets addicted to them, just like nicotine. Quitting smoking was easy and hard both at the same time. When I quit smoking, I quit, and my subconscious mind knew that no matter how hard it yelled and screamed and how badly it wanted a cigarette, that I wasn't going to give in. So from that standpoint, I feel like my body gave up relatively quickly. It's kind of like a toddler at the grocery store. If you got a toddler that is laying down on the floor, flailing around, making a bunch of noise because they want a candy bar, if you give them a candy bar, man, the next time you're at the store and you tell them they can't have a candy bar, you're going to really have a real fight on your hands. And that's going to happen over and over and over. What's eventually going to happen is the kid is not going to believe that you're not giving them a candy bar. So their tantrums are going to get worse, and they're going to get, harder and harder to deal with. But on the same side of things, if you stick to it, and no matter how bad that tantrum is, no matter how uncomfortable it is to sit in that store with the wailing kid that's flailing all over the place, no matter how embarrassed you are, if you don't give in and get the kid a candy bar, I promise you, the next time you go to the store and you say no, there might be a temper tantrum, but it's going to be less. And by the time you've stood your ground 2, 3, 4 times, the kid is going to realize that that's all a bunch of wasted energy, and it's going to quit with the tantrums. And this is maybe a little bit of a lesson in life for you guys too. So if you've tried to quit smoking, 1 time, 5 times, 10 times, and every single time you've kind of gone back to it, and then you wonder why it's so hard to quit, well, that's why. Your subconscious mind, your body doesn't believe you anymore. So when you say you're going to quit smoking, it just throws a huge, massive tantrum. And because every other time you've said you were going to quit smoking, you caved, you ended up, starting again. Your mind, your body, your heart doesn't believe that you really are going to stop. Once your mind and your body and your heart believe you and know that no matter how hard they try, no matter how hard your body whines for the nicotine, no matter how bad your mind is craving a cigarette, that you're not going to give in. Your mind is very much like a small child. Once it realizes it ain't going to win, it gives up. It doesn't expend a whole lot of energy fighting you anymore once it knows that it can't win, that no matter how bad it hurts, you ain't drinking it. So, you know, for me, that's where I just have to be. Like with soda, it's always been conditional. Like, hey, I'm going to quit, you know, for a little while, or I'm going to cut back this and that. But, you know, I've never really just said, hey, that's it. I'm not doing it anymore. I don't want all of those chemicals in my body. But anyways, Tim, I appreciate your concern. And it could just be a combination of a lot of different things that has me, you know, just feeling a little off this morning. But I love you, brother. And I thank you for checking up on me. And yeah, I'm going to be drinking more and more water. Absolutely. So I did want to say, hey, Donnie T, man, thank you for being here. I think I mentioned you once, but I think you're a newer addition to the channel. And I love each and every one of you. And I love you guys that are coming on a consistent basis. So I'm seeing a lot of new people that are starting to not be new, that are starting to be here on a daily basis, on an every stream basis. And I want to make sure that you guys know that you're appreciated. I give the Tim G's and the Pablo Nalders and the Dave P's and Deadwoods and stuff a lot of love because they've been here with me for, you know, long time now. But I got a lot of new people that are coming in and that are becoming, you know, regulars just like those guys. And I want to make sure that you are, you know, acknowledged and that you know you are appreciated. Where else are we got here? We got Block Brawler, first time watcher. Hey, Brock Brawler, man, nice to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Excited to have a first time watcher, man. It's really nice to have new people come and watch the channel. I hope that you really enjoy yourself. You got to get used to my style a little bit. I kind of jump around and go from one point to another point. Like I was just supposed to be going down through the chat, and here I am 3 or 4 times I've segued into a thought. So I highly recommend, and this is for all of you guys. I don't know how many of you do it, but if there was ever somebody to listen to and to have a pen and paper handy, if you could, I would be one of the guys that I would highly recommend having a pen and paper around, because you just never know when I'm going to say something that you want to capture and remember. Now, obviously, if you're in your car driving, you can't, you know, capture everything. You might have to go back and listen to a certain part. But excited to have you, man. Thank you so much for being here. Shazi, welcome back. Another person that is becoming a regular staple of the channel. Do I know about Helium coin? I do not know about Helium coin. I know about a Helium coin. I don't think that's what you're talking about, though, but I know about Helium. I don't think that's what you're talking about because you spelled it totally different. This is the token that I know of that kind of sounds a little bit like what you said. I don't know if the token that you're talking about is this one or if you're talking about a different token altogether. Mr. Bernstein, good morning, brother. Hope you are having a fantastic week. Chad, welcome back, man. Stop drinking pop, lost 25 pounds. Yeah, absolutely. And that's another, you know, one of the reasons for me to do it is to get this type 2 diabetes and this weight under control and, you know, just get rid of some of those addictive habits. So congratulations, man. 25 pounds lighter. You must be feeling amazing. That's awesome. All right. The channel keeps growing with new subscribers. That's great news. Let's grow. Yeah, man. Like I say, I don't say this often enough. I'm not the guy. I always forget to tell you guys to like the video. Well, I don't always forget, but I'm not great at it. And, you know, definitely subscribe. If you're watching the channel for the first time, there's nothing that's more of an honor to me than to have you subscribe. I know that time is every one of your guys's, you know, most valuable assets. You don't get it back. So the fact that you're here spending some with me is amazing. And I'm very, very appreciative. So let's, now that we've, you know, said hello to everybody in the chat, let's get on to a little bit of trading. So we're going to go back here to the CoinGecko homepage. One of the things that I wanted to mention is I'm not going to be placing any trades today. I just feel like the market is in a spot where I think it's be very risky. Unless you were doing maybe 3x or 5x trades, as far as leverage goes, it would be somewhat risky. And the reason I say that is I think that we're right in the middle of no man's land here. This 94,000 for Bitcoin, at some point in time, we're going to come out of that channel. And it's either going to go, in my opinion, down to, 80 grand. I mean, not all at once. Don't get me wrong. I'm not expecting it to just drop from 94 to 80 in a straight line. But I think we're either going to see 80,000 here pretty soon, or we're going to go up and we're going to see, 120,000 on our way up to 150, 200, $250,000 a Bitcoin. What do we got here? Sorry, I got distracted by the chat. Does Coke Zero really make you gain weight? I just thought it didn't because of the zero sugar and calories. So from what I understand, obviously you're right. It has 0 calories, but I believe that a lot of the other chemicals and stuff in your body, I think that it messes with, forgive me if I don't get this right, but I think it messes with like your neurotransmitters. And I think it messes with the chemistry in your body a little bit to where it messes with your metabolism and you don't process foods maybe the same way that you should. I'm not 100% sure if it causes you to gain weight, but I know for sure that by getting rid of it and getting all of those chemicals out of my body, that it gives my body an opportunity to work on the things that are more important. That's why fasting can be so important. If you do like a 3-day water fast, the reason that that's so good for you is I think it's after about 16, 18, 20 hours, your body starts to go into autophagy, which is basically where your good cells eat your bad cells. And so if you've got, cancer cells in your body, or you've got these dead cells that are struggling, that aren't working very well, when you do like a 3-day water fast, your body almost eats itself for energy and helps make you healthier. And so it's twofold. I want to get rid of the Coke for that reason, but I also want to get rid of the Coke for what Tim mentioned. I believe that in order to be at my optimal health, I want to be drinking a gallon of water a day. And it's just near impossible to do that if I'm also guzzling down 3, 4, 5, 6 Coke Zeros. So by getting rid of the Coke Zero, it gives me the ability to replace it with water, which I know for sure is a much healthier option. Whether or not it'll help me lose weight, I don't know if it's directly correlated or not, but I know that it's going to help me lose weight in the fact that I'm going to get more water, which is going to flush everything out of my body. And along with the exercise and the cleaner eating that I'm doing, it's definitely a step in the right direction. But back to my point on altcoins right now. The title of this was How Low Can Altcoins Go? And I do want to give you guys some hope. We're sitting down at 94K Bitcoin. The altcoin market has been getting slaughtered. We just watched Solana. It's still dropping. I mean, it's here down 9.2% in the last 24 hours, 2% in just the last hour. It was 168 when we were looking at it a minute ago. Now it's 162. And if you go take a peek here at Solana on the chart, we can see over the last 30 days, it's down almost 40%. So if we do the 3-month chart, Solana had popped all the way up here to over 275. So it's not quite, it ain't quite 50% yet, but what's half of 275, 137.50. So it's getting down there into this 50% retracement zone, and that's part of the reason that I very much believe that we are. I very much believe that we are going to have some massive upside. These guys cannot do this to the market forever. So if you've been watching this trader live stream for the last few months, you probably heard me mention a couple of times that I wasn't shorting Solana, and one of the reasons that I wasn't shorting Solana was because it had already had such massive moves. Like, why would I want to, I wasn't going to place any longs in on Solana because at $250 Solana, I just didn't feel like it had an amazing amount of upside. But watching it do this, This is, it talks about, old Warren Buffett talks about buying when there's blood in the streets. Right now, there's blood in the streets. The thing is folks, Solana's not going anywhere. Just don't listen to all of the chatter. Back in my earlier days when the channel was smaller, I was on Ben Bitboy Crypto Armstrong's Around the Blockchain, back when he was owner of it, when it had 1 million subscribers. And long story short, Solana had gotten crushed off down to $7-8 a Solana. There was 4 of us on the show that day, and 3 people were talking about how Solana was dead and they wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. And I was the only guy on the show that was saying, hey, Warren Buffett talks about buying when there's blood in the streets. Right now is an incredible opportunity to get in on Solana. And in fact, Joshua, one of the founders, one of the owners of Discover Crypto, came up to me at Bitcoin 2024 last year and basically said, hey, man, I got to congratulate you. When you did that show and you talked about Solana and how it wasn't dead and how it was an incredible opportunity to buy, I thought you were crazy, but you turned out to be right. Well, I promise you guys, I'm going to turn out to be right again. Solana's not dead. Solana's not going anywhere. So just the fact that it got slaughtered and that a bunch of the meme coins and Solana-based tokens have had massive, huge retracements, once again, that's an opportunity. That's where experience comes in. Having been around this market for 8-9 years, these things, I'm not going to say that they don't faze me at all. Like, yeah, I'm sitting here wishing that we could just get on with the bull market. I'm wishing that things would take off because I'm also a private sale guy. You haven't heard me talking about private sales a whole lot, but because private sales have absolutely blown for the last 6 months. But private sales will have their day in the sun too. And as the market comes back, you guys are going to get sick of me talking about private sales, because here in a month or 2 or 3, when Bitcoin's at 150 grand, I'm going to be telling you guys about all of the private sales that I'm getting into. And I bet you a bunch of you guys will probably get in on some of them with me because I share them with my community. But, lately, private sales are dead. But if somebody is out there telling you that private sales are going to be dead forever, they're crazy. Just like I say, if somebody were to tell you DeFi got smashed off during the last bear market, with Voyager and Celsius and FTX and everything that could happen to DeFi happened to DeFi. But DeFi is not going anywhere. Decentralized finance is going to be around for decades and decades, and it's going to replace the traditional banking system to a huge, huge degree over those decades. So anything that you think has just gotten beaten down and is dead, that's when you want to be buying it. So I'm not telling you to go out and buy Solana right now. I would keep an eye on it, but this is certainly a token that I'm going to be keeping an eye on and that I'm going to be longing when the market flips. On that note, folks, for those of you that like to short, you're definitely welcome to do some shorting in the market. And if you do it with my ladder system, I think that there's some possibility that you could end up in really good shape. If this thing takes a dump down to, $80,000 Bitcoin, you're going to make a bunch of money if you're shorting the market. You just want to be careful because this stuff is so volatile. And literally, you could wake up tomorrow and this $94,000 Bitcoin could be back up to, 102 and on its way to 108 and on its way to 120. And that's why for me, I'm just going to kind of sit back and keep an eye open. The other thing that I would highly recommend, none of this is financial advice. This is all just educational and entertainment purpose based. But if I was somebody like me that wasn't super excited to go make a bunch of trades because I'm not sure which direction things are going, I would use this time while I'm not going to be trading to start accumulating money. So whether that's setting aside money out of your paychecks, going and selling something, borrowing from your 401k, whatever makes sense to you, I think that now is an incredible time to get some dry powder on the sidelines. And, you know, this is going to be a little bit shorter today because we're not placing a bunch of trades, but I did want to give you guys, I wanted to show you a few tokens that I'm looking at real hard, and I'll show you why. So when we were talking a couple of weeks ago, and I was talking about, you know, the market somewhat, you know, bottoming out here, you can see that Chainlink, you know, is at $17.32. And I'll run through this real quick again, but this is one of the ways that I look at a project, I look at a token to see if it might be worth putting a long in. How close to the bottom are we? So if you go out on the 3-month chart here, you can see that way back here in November, this was all the way down at $14. So it's still got some decent downside. You know, 10% of 17 is only $1.70. So $1.70 from where it's sitting at would still be almost 15, like 1560, 1570. So in order to get down to 14, you know, 39, it has almost a 20%, not quite 20, but almost 20%. And if you go back out for a full year, why does my chart not want to work? That drives me crazy. Once I click on it once, oh, wait a minute. Nope, that didn't seem to work either. I don't understand why it does that, why I can't. I should be able to click back. So here's the year. So you can see, like, if you go back even here just to October of last year, $10, $11, $12 Chainlink. So while I think that Chainlink is an incredible token to own, and I don't know if we're going to see $10 or not, but I can guarantee you that if Bitcoin goes from 94 back down to, you know, 89, 85, 80, I don't know how low Chainlink is going to go. Could it conceivably get all the way back to $10? Maybe. It's possible. I don't think it's probably going to go that low, but my point is this isn't a token that right now in these current conditions that I would necessarily be looking to pull the trigger on a long on, but I'd be watching it very closely. And if we do have a capitulation event and you do see Bitcoin go down towards 80 and all of a sudden this is sitting down at an $8, $9, $10 token, then I would be very excited to be riding along back up on Chainlink. But part of the reason that I wanted to show you Chainlink was just to show you like how far it has to go, like how bad it can get. But here is another token that is high up on my list of tokens to be looking at. And like, so this is one of the best examples I can give you here if I can find it here. So now we've got Polygon sitting down at, you know, 29 cents. And if you click out to the 1-year chart for Polygon, you can see this thing has been in this range, you know, 29, 30 cents was the lowest that it was. In fact, back in March of 2024, it was all the way up to $1.27, and then it came down. And if you go here, say here's June of 2024, when we were kind of smack dab in the middle of the bear, you know, we're, you know, 49 cents when Bitcoin was going from, you know, its all-time high of 73 back all the way down to, you know, 40, 50,000. And it, you know, came all the way down here in August to 40 cents. And then it bottomed out here in November at about 30 cents. So this is a token that tells me that it could be relatively close to its all-time low. Like, could this thing drop down to, you know, 24, 25 cents? Yeah, absolutely. That's part of what our ladders are on. But to me, Polygon here would be a much better token to be looking to long than Chainlink would be currently. Now, once again, I will probably get some trades in on Chainlink, but another one I skipped over it. Another one, so I'll go back, like Cardano here. Cardano had such a massive run up. If you look at it over the last year, you know, it peaked all the way up at over $1, and it's, you know, down to 74 cents. But look at how much further it could go. If you go just back to October, it was all the way down at 32 cents. So this thing, you know, in my opinion, still has massive, massive upside. But if we get some capitulation in the markets, this could go a lot lower than 74 cents. So it's not a token that I would probably want to be longing right now. Even with ladders, if this thing drops from 75 back to 30, you ain't going to have enough ladders in the world to keep your trades in place. Somehow, if you manage to start at 74 cents and ladder your way all the way down on leverage trades and keep your trade in play, yeah, if you got all the way down to the bottom and you had those trades laddered in, you would be doing amazing. But this is what I'm looking for, guys. Another one, we'll go back to another one that is relatively bottomed out that I do like the looks of. Now, everybody's got their own opinion on Polkadot. I still believe that it's going to see some tremendous upside. I still think that it's got a lot of room to run and that the Polkadot ecosystem could come roaring back on us. But my point is here, if you look at Polkadot on the 1-year chart, you can see this shows 385, but right around 370 is its low. So what are we looking at here? From $4, and you can see like over the last handful of months, 4 has been relatively close to the bottom. You know, most of the time it's gotten down to around 4 and bounced. And so that's still a decent chunk, like what, 10% of 460 is 46. So 20% would be 46 twice is 92. So 92 cents from 459 would take it all the way down to about that $3 and 70-cent range. So to me, it still has some room to go down, but I don't foresee, even if Bitcoin runs all the way down, you know, to 89, 85, 80,000, that Polkadot is probably going to go much lower than this, you know, $3.60 range. So that's another one that I would be keeping an eye on. Now, I'm not saying go place a long on it right now at 460, but if this thing dips back down to 430, 415, it might be a fantastic time to jump in and get a leverage trade. Another token that we just, swung by on the way that a lot of people are excited about, including me. Like, I've been wanting to find a good place, to long this token. If we look here, it was all the way up at $5.35 about a month ago, and it's down to, $2.94. So it's retraced 45%. If we look here, though, it was a 36-cent token on October 19th of 2023. So from $2.94 down to 36 cents is a long ways down. So if we look at this 1-year chart here, it would make me slightly nervous, because if we just go back, this thing was just back in September, this thing was 78 cents. So it's still almost a 4x from back in here. And, right here, even it was 60 cents. So this has me slightly nervous about putting a long in on it. Now, once again, if you are convinced that the market's going to 80, then this could potentially be a great coin to short. So, for instance, in the same exact, strategy wise, in the same exact way that I said that, get over here. So in the same exact way that I mentioned that Polkadot is probably bottomed out, Polygon Matic is probably bottomed out, and you probably would be good tokens to potentially put a long in on if they go down a much lower. On the flip side, those are two tokens that I wouldn't want to short, because I don't think that there's enough upside. Yeah, if Bitcoin runs from 94 where it is now back to 80, Polkadot and Matic are going to go lower, but they're not going to probably go as much lower as a token like SUI that was 60 cents and is now $3. That's done a 5x over the last handful of months. Polkadot never got above, say, $10, $11. In order for it to have done a 5x, it would have had to have been up over 20, and so on and so forth. So whether you want to long the market or short the market, whatever your sentiment is, this is just a little bit of an idea of some of the thought process that I go through when I'm trying to decide what I want to do and how I want to do it. So to me, I believe that like a token, once again, like Cardano, yeah, it's down a bunch from its all-time high, or not from its all-time high, but from its all-time high in this bull market. But if you really go look at it, it still has a reasonable amount of room to run down. Another token right off the top of my head would be, XLM. So, once again, if you were looking at this token and you were trying to decide if you wanted to put a long on it or if you wanted to put a short on it, one of the things that I would look at, if you go back to its one year chart here, is just back here. Look at that. I mean, just here in October, it was 9 cents. So it's still up 300% in the last few months. And it peaked all the way up to over 50 cents where it was a 5X. But in my opinion, this has a lot more downside if Bitcoin were to run to 80 than Polygon Matic does. Has a lot more downside than Polkadot does. I'm not saying that I would go short this. I think this is going to be an incredible token. And so, but I'm just telling you, like, if you're looking for something and you want to be a shorter, then these are the types of things that you look for. You want to look for tokens that still have some massive downside, not tokens that are already kind of at what feels like the bottom when it comes to downside. And then once again, the same thing in reverse. You want to find tokens that you believe have massive upside compared to where they're sitting at right now, not something that's still pretty darn high compared to where it was, just a few months ago. So with that, folks, I know that we didn't really get into any specific trades. The other thing that I would say about, the current market conditions is now is a pretty good time to do a little bit of spot buying if you don't want to trade with leverage. There's some good tokens out there that are at some, relatively good prices. Like, I wouldn't fault anybody for buying, Solana here at 100 and see where it's at now. A few minutes later here, where do we end up with Solana at? Solana, 161. So it's still, I'm wondering if it's going to break down below 160 or not. But, I think if you bought Solana at 160, even if it dropped down to 120, you could just buy a little more. $160 Solana is definitely going to be profitable, in my opinion. $250 was nowhere near the top of Solana for this bull market, in my opinion. Not financial advice, but you can flip, and now might be a decent time to pick up some tokens. Chainlink. I think Chainlink could have some downside for sure, but it also has massive, massive, massive upside. And Chainlink is a token that was just, go back out here, and look at it, but just not long ago at all was sitting at almost $30. So if the market sentiment does turn positive and all of a sudden Bitcoin starts running up to, 100, 105, 110, 120, all of a sudden Chainlink's going to be $30, $40, $50 again fairly rapidly. So, it all comes down to what you believe, what your risk and timing tolerance is in the market. But hopefully I gave you a little bit of food for thought and some ideas, some things to chew on. And, hopefully if you do decide to do some leverage trading, I pray that you pick the wrong way, because it would be nothing sweeter than to choose the right way and then have all of the money both directions. Like, there's a part of me that wishes I knew that I was a little bit more certain that Bitcoin was going to drop down to 80, because I would love to make all of the money that I could make shorting the market from now till Bitcoin hit 80, and then be able to have all of that capital to ride it back up to 95, 100, 110, 120. So, once again, I'm excited about when we really truly do enter into the next bear market for good, and we can start shorting all of these tokens and making profit all the way down. I just don't think that we're there yet. And it's very, very hard for me to decipher whether or not this is kind of where we're going to end. There's a lot of people that want to get that want to slurp this stuff up. We've got the exchange traded funds. There's a lot of reasons why Bitcoin hasn't crashed down to 80 yet. And I think part of the reason is people like Michael Saylor and just big money people are coming in, and they think that anything under $100,000 Bitcoin is a steal. And, I don't know. I know that $80,000 Bitcoin certainly feels like it would really shake out the rest of the people that are hanging on. So, right now, I think you've got your crypto diehards like me and those of you that are watching this channel that just, you wouldn't care if Bitcoin went all the way back to $25,000 over the next month. You would suck and you wouldn't be happy about it, but it wouldn't cause you to quit crypto. Now, I think there's a subset of us like that are going to win huge. But I do think there are people still barely hanging on by a thread. And if Bitcoin dropped even back to 80,000, it's going to shake out a bunch more people, and we would see some capitulation. And in my mind, I feel like the elite of the world, the guys that want to control crypto and own enough of it to where they have the say, would love to see that happen. So there's a part of me just looking at it logically and wondering, hey, what would be the best thing to have happen for the elite, for the people that want to keep their thumb on us? And $80,000 Bitcoin definitely seems like it would be better for them than Bitcoin rebounding and being at 120 in a month. So I'm not here to say that we don't have some more pain coming in the short term. The fact of the matter is they can only hold it down for so long, and they only want to hold it down for so long. You got to remember, like, once they get their bags and once they get their positions and they're ready, they're going to rocket ship this up. And what's going to happen is you're going to have all of the people that sold everything off at a loss at 80, they got destroyed on their altcoins. Now, all of a sudden, when Bitcoin goes rocketing up, they're going to buy it at the peak. They're going to get back in at $250,000 Bitcoin. And then guess what happens? Bitcoin gets crushed back down to $75,000, $80,000 or $100,000 or whatever. And they never learn. They always buy the top and sell the bottom. And folks, if you've been around long enough, it's just a matter of time before the top comes back. So the only way you can lose in crypto, in my opinion, is to sell. Now, that's different than taking profits. I mean, like, if you're selling and telling everybody, hey, I'm done with crypto, like, I can't handle the swings, I can't handle the volatility, I don't think it's really going to go to where Brad's saying it's going to go. Michael Saylor don't know what he's talking about. $3 million, $10 million, $15 million Bitcoin in my lifetime. No way, it ain't happening. And you give up. I'm not talking about if you're taking some profits and you're setting some money aside on the sidelines. Like, if you told me right now that you wanted to sell every dollar you had in crypto and you were just going to hold it in a bank account or in USDC on a platform where you were earning some interest because you very much believed that we were going to see $70,000, $75,000, $80,000 Bitcoin. And when that happened, you were going to shovel it all back in. I wouldn't have a problem with that as long as you're selling it with a plan to get back in. And on the flip side, there's people that are doing this. If you decide to sell it all right now, if Bitcoin surprises you and it flips around and it goes up to 100, 105, 110, you can still buy back in and ride it all the way up to 200 or 250. So, like, there's worse strategies in the world than just cashing out and getting out of your positions. I'm not recommending that. That's not what I'm doing. But at the same time, I wouldn't give you any grief over it. As long as you weren't quitting, as long as you weren't giving up on your dreams, I'm telling you, your dreams are right around the corner. And it's just a universal success principle in life that normally it's darkest before the light. It's normally the hardest right before you're going to have the breakthrough for whatever reason, whether it's in your health, in your wealth, in your relationships. I guarantee you all know somebody, maybe you've gone through it yourself, where you and your wife were on the verge of divorce and that maybe you decided that you didn't want to get divorced and that you wanted to work on it. Well, I can just about 100% guarantee you that from the moment you made that decision, things got worse, at least temporarily, because that's how life works. That's how the devil works. The devil didn't want to see you maintain that relationship with your wife, with your husband. The devil loves divorce. So when the devil heard that you were getting serious about saving your marriage, I guarantee you he threw everything but the kitchen sink at you. And you know somebody, or you went through it yourself, where it got worse before it got better. Well, I'm here to tell you it could get a little bit worse before it gets better, but the worse it gets, just the more money we're going to make when it gets better. And I promise you, the good times are right around the corner. 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. I can't guarantee when. It could literally be tomorrow, though, folks. Like when crypto went from 42K down to 27,000 back in 2021, February of 2021, nobody knew when it was going to take back off. And a lot of people didn't think it was going to take back off. But by May 11th of 2021, we were up to an all-time high of 64,000. It had went from 27 all the way up to over, 61, or 64, excuse me. So it went up about 150%. So even if Bitcoin crashed all the way down to 80, if its rebound was 150%, that'd take it back to $200,000, folks. So I'm going to go back out over here to the chat and give you guys a little bit more time, a couple more minutes. So Deadwood says, as part of me is the cause of weight gain and sugar-free. Very, 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 very true. What do we got here? As part of me is made from the excrement of E. coli. It's the poo of poo that you chew. Wonderful. Thanks, Deadwood. Appreciate you, buddy. We got some guys saying, hey, Plume holding fairly solid during these pullbacks. Glad I snagged it at 10.5. Nice. Glad, that's why you got to be here every day. We got the mindset on Monday. We got the trader Tuesdays. Tomorrow's microcap gem Wednesdays. Don't miss. We went over Plume on the microcap gem live stream last Wednesday, folks. And so, Dave says, yeah, Plume is holding up. So there are going to be some outliers. There's going to be some tokens that do pretty well. Pablo, what do you got going on here? Once all these ETFs get approval and regularity, crypto guidance gets sorted, hopefully we will get some of the old upside. Yeah, absolutely. It's a coming. That's one of the reasons that people are super excited about HBAR is they believe that, an ETF is coming from it. Part of what you guys can do is just go look at what BlackRock is accumulating. BlackRock, you might, have a problem with. You might think that they're an evil corporate conglomerate, and I'm not going to argue with you about it. But if you want to know what tokens to, potentially put on your radar, go look and see what BlackRock is slurping up. I guarantee you BlackRock's got Chainlink. I believe that BlackRock has HBAR, has Hedera. I don't keep on top of it probably as much as I should. But a lot of the tokens that we're talking about that we believe are going to do massive things are very much probably in Blackwood's portfolio. I saw another comment that, here we go, XM Textile says Soul Trade on 161 may be a buying opportunity. I agree with you. I think that buying Solana at 161 is not a bad investment, even if it somehow manages to crash, even lower. But I would say that to me, I feel like we might very, very well be getting very close to a bottom. February is over halfway over. And I just have a feeling that we're going to have a really good March, April, May. And, so maybe we've got a couple more weeks of misery. But in general, I think that the bottom could be in on a lot of these tokens. I want to kind of hang out and see what happens, because you can jump into a leverage trade pretty quickly if you're ready to go. So get ready to go. Get your money onto whatever exchange you're excited about. We use BYDFI here a lot, but whether it's MEXC Global or BYDFI or Bybit or wherever you like to do your trading from, get some funds ready to go. So if all of a sudden you're watching my channel, or you're watching Frankie Candles, or you're watching Crypto Lifer, and they come along and start saying, hey man, the TA is telling us that we are about ready to see new all-time highs. I'll never forget, I did a show way back in, I think it was February or March of last year. So it's about a year ago. I had Crypto Lifer, I had Cowboys of Crypto, I had Piper Academy, and oh man, why can't I think of the last gentleman's name? Of course, there's always got to be one person that I can't think of. But anyways, there was 4 of us, 5 of us technically, I guess, including me, that were doing Bitcoin price predictions. And these guys were all talking about how the TA was showing that we were going to hit a new all-time high for Bitcoin. And I didn't want to believe it. Being an old-time crypto guy, Bitcoin had never in the history of Bitcoin had never gone to a new all-time high until after the halving. And then normally it was like 6 months after the halving. So most people were of the opinion that Bitcoin was probably going to not be a new all-time high until, say, October, November, December of 2024. And these guys were saying, hey, the TA is pointing out that at this point, Bitcoin was at around 50,000 or so. And these guys were all in opinion that we were going to see a new all-time high for Bitcoin within the next couple of weeks. And boom, Bitcoin flew up to $73,000 before the halving last year. So these guys that are good at what they do know what they're talking about. So you want to be ready for when all of a sudden, if things flip positive, you want to be in a position where you could take advantage. You can make a lot of money very, very quickly with these 5X and 10X leverage trades. So with that, folks, I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. And hey, you took a trade, Dave. Did you do a leverage trade, Dave, or did you just do some spot? What did you do? Did you do a 5X long? Did you do a 10X long? What kind of trade did you place? If you don't mind telling us, I'm kind of curious myself, because I was actually looking. I was kind of looking at Sol and thinking, in my opinion, man, down 20% in just the last, 17% in just the last week. And look at that. It's already bounced back up, back up to 164. But, with 17% going on 20% not long ago, and, 8-9% in the last 24 hours, I was going to say that, Solana is probably not a bad little token to take a flyer on, because even with 10X leverage, your first liquidation point would be all the way down at like 144. And then from there, it would be down at, from 144 would take it all the way down to about 130. So if you don't think Sol's going to see 130, maybe it was a great time for a long 15X. Congratulations, man. Keep a close eye on it. We'll be rooting for you, man. I hope that hope to see it bounce back up to 170, 180 for you very, very quickly. So glad to see you guys taking some action on that. So with that, folks, it's been about an hour. It's oh, I know what I got to do. Sorry, I can't let you go yet. I've got to show you something here real quick on YouTube. I think you guys are going to be excited. For those of you that are already, on the channel and have your notifications in, we have a live stream today in just, what is it? It's 11, so about 3 hours, 10 o'clock Pacific. So yeah, 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. No, excuse me. 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. where I'm at right now. So 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So yeah, 3 hours from now, we've got a live stream AMA with the Connect Financial team. It's already here, so you can go in and you can, set a notification. You see here where it says live in 2 hours, notify me. Just go to my YouTube channel, hit that notification. You're going to get notified when that thing is getting ready to go live. And we're doing a $100 giveaway. So I hope that as many of you as possible can be on that stream at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Look forward to seeing a bunch of you, hopefully a little bit later today. And then I'll be talking about it again tomorrow, but we also have a live stream AMA on a token that is not even public yet. It's getting ready to get minted, I believe, on February 25th. And we have a live stream AMA with the owner, CEO, founder of this project on Wednesday, and it's going to be at noon, or excuse me, 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So we're going to go live Wednesday morning on that crypto gem tomorrow morning. But then we're gonna hop off of that live, and then we're gonna get ready for another live stream. Also, another $100 giveaway, and then not last but not least, on Friday we've got another interview. I believe it's also at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it's going to do a $250 giveaway. When I was talking to this team and talking about the giveaway, they wanted to do a $250 giveaway, not a $100 giveaway. So $100 giveaway here in a few hours, 3 hours of today, and then a $100 giveaway tomorrow, and then $250 giveaway coming up on Friday. So hopefully we'll see all of you there. Dave, are you going to be able to be around today, you think, at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to moderate that? If not, I understand. Mr. Bernstein or Deadwood, if either of you guys are going to be there, I'll probably make you moderators. So yeah, I'll get in touch with a couple of you guys after the stream is over, and hopefully a couple of you can get on and moderate that chat, just because the chat's been amazing the last couple of days. I don't want to assume that it's going to stay that way. So with that, folks, though, hopefully we'll see a bunch of you here in just a few hours. I hope that you got some incredible value out of today's stream. I love you all. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for the Microcap Gem stream. God bless. Take care.